You guys can have her. We'll keep being Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill fans. We'll keep liking the mainstream. You can have Liv Morgan. You dweebs out there can have Liv Morgan. Y'all are intimidated by real women like Bianca Belair anyway. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Daily WrestleCast here on the Casual Wrestling Channel. It is Monday, May the 20th. I am the host of the show, the voice of the casual wrestling fans, the Notorious Nerdy D, where each and every day I drop in for a few moments to talk to you guys, the casual wrestling faction, about the biggest things going on in the world of professional wrestling. If you enjoy the casual wrestling content, please take a second to join the casual wrestling faction. The link is in the description of the video. It is 100% free to join. That is where we do exclusive giveaways, polls, and drop all of the bonus content for the channel. Housekeeping this week: episodes of the Casual WrestleCast and all casual wrestling shows will be posting officially at 4 p.m. Central Time starting May 21st, tomorrow. This one may be up a little late, but to give myself a little bit more time to edit and polish things up just a little bit, 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time is the official new drop time of all casual wrestling content. That means the WrestleCast, that means the Champ and the Chick on Fridays, that means the WrestleCast with Mike and D. Every episode, 4 o'clock, the following day it's recorded for you guys to be able to listen to on your way home, on your commute home, or wherever you listen to it. But just expect it at 4 o'clock p.m. I want to welcome anybody new to the channel who, if this is your first episode, I know we had a couple things go viral last week, so expecting some new listeners. If you're new here, welcome. We welcome you to the Casual Wrestling Faction, and we're going to do this as we always do. We're going to jump right into the news from this weekend. All right, story number one. According to internet sources and rumors, Liv Morgan is now officially single once again. Casual wrestling fans, cover your ears. This isn't for you. I'm speaking directly to the IWC out there. Liv Morgan knows exactly what she's doing to you guys here. She knows exactly how to play you IWC dweebs in the palm of her hand. She knows how to keep the dream alive for you guys. You basement rats. The more she says she's single, the more you guys bang away at your keyboard and keep her name relevant on the internet. Liv Morgan is playing the IWC like a country musician plays a fiddle. She does all of these interviews. Oh, I'm single again. She does all these interviews about so-and-so farted in the ring and it smelled so bad. And then all of the IWC sits around and they giggle like third graders. They're so excited. She's so relatable. No, she's not relatable, bro. She's a WWE superstar with average talent at that. And she's just using your pent-up yeet juices to get them to buy more Liv Morgan Revenge Tour shirts and to type away on their keyboards and keep Liv Morgan relevant on the internet. This is another instance where I want to get behind something. I want to get behind Liv Morgan, but the IWC make it so unbearable sometimes. They can't just like something. They have to lay absolute claim to it. The IWC can't just be a fan. They need ownership over the thing that they like most. They will sit in the corner like a rat who found a crumb, and they will hiss at all of the casual fans who walk by and say things like, oh, I'm starting to see why you could like Liv Morgan. No, that's ours. Liv Morgan's ours. They're like, fuck you. You don't understand. You don't understand the levels of why we like Liv Morgan. It's complex and it's deeper than your casual mind could ever process. Hey, fuck it. Cool. You guys can have her. We'll keep being Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill fans. We'll keep liking the mainstream. You can have Liv Morgan. You dweebs out there Can't have Liv Morgan. Y'all are intimidated by real women like Bianca Belair anyway, so y'all do that. I don't understand that the need for ownership over things and why you guys have to push people away when they start to come around. It doesn't make sense to me. You do it with AEW, you do it with indie darlings, and now you're doing it with Liv Morgan. So you can have her. Officially, as of right now, IWC, you can have Liv Morgan. Story number 2 is Chris Jericho expected the please retire reaction from the crowd at AEW Dynasty. At this point, guys, I'm embarrassed to say that I once considered Chris Jericho the GOAT of professional wrestling. There was a time, I'm guilty, I had arguments with people that Chris Jericho was the greatest of all time. That's on me. I'll take that L. I will take that L, guys. But at this point, Chris Jericho has overstayed his welcome in the world of professional wrestling. Maybe in the entire world, but he's definitely overstayed his welcome in the world of wrestling. He's now that old guy that's sitting at the bar trying to pick up on the young girls. And the worst part of it is that every time he's rejected, he plays up this shtick of like, I knew that was going to happen. No, you didn't. No, you didn't know that, Jericho. You're still trying to live this dream. And more power to you, man. You could do it as long as you want. But understand, we're not all in on the joke with you. These chants aren't part of your gimmick anymore. You're not Eminem. You're not 8-miling us. You're not getting ahead of this. These are fans that legitimately want you to go away. These are fans that legitimately want you to retire. And this all circles back, once again, to Tony Khan. Tony Khan has to look in the mirror. At some point, if Tony Khan is really serious about the brand that is AEW, and he wants to be successful for the long term, he's going to have to do what a lot of pro sports teams have to do that they don't love to do. And it's the day when you wake up and you have to look in the mirror and you have to go, we got to get rid of some of these old guys. Yeah, they're fan favorites. Yeah, the fans love them. Yeah, the fans are going to be mad, but we got to get rid of some of these old guys. It's time. We got to rebuild the franchise. We've got to create a fresh, new image. Right now, AEW has no identity. None. You have a certain amount of flippy guys, you got a bunch of old guys, got a couple guys doing sports entertainment, but there's no true identity. There is not an avatar anymore for what the perfect AEW fan should look like. We now just have the avatar of the IWC. And so AEW is holding on to these guys, but it's time to destroy and rebuild, right? Chris Jericho's 53 years old. Adam Copeland is 50 years old. Christian Cage is 50 years old. And I bring up these names because these aren't guys that are just on the roster. These aren't guys that just happen to show up. These are guys that take up valuable TV time on a weekly basis. And the argument that the IWC used to make about, well, they're here to put guys over, that's not true anymore. That's not what's happening here. These are guys that are holding on to title belts. Since September of last year, let's go back to September of last year, the TNT title has been passed back and forth between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. That's 9 months. That's what it takes to make a baby. That's how long that they've been holding down younger talent who has no opportunity to win this title because two guys having a midlife crisis have decided that they need to play out their story and they need a shiny belt to do so. You remember when the AEW fans said that Adam Copeland wasn't coming to AEW to win titles? He didn't need that. I got that so many times. He's just over here to put over talent. How's that going? You guys tell me, how's that going? Who is he putting over? Because from the casual perspective, it just looks like Edge and Christian are telling the story that they've wanted to tell forever. They need a title to do it, and they will hijack the progression of younger talent in order to do so. Don't tell me they're putting over Luchasaurus and these other people, or whatever his name is now. Don't tell me it's not. Nobody's being built up but the two main guys in this story. And then let's go to Jericho. Jericho has the FTR championship. Same shit, just different face. Putting over Big Bill, the only guy who will still work with him these days. It's another former WWE guy putting over another former WWE guy. Can't build a franchise that way, Tony Khan. Can't build a company that way, Tony Khan. It's time to clean house. It is time. I know these old guys, they bring in a little bit of a crowd, but it's time to clean house. Destroy and rebuild should be the motto of AEW at this point. And before the IWC jump into this, well, WWE had some old guys too. No, I get it. We got R-Truth. He's 52 years old. I get it. Old guy. Not gonna try and defend it, except R-Truth has done everything asked of him his entire career. He hasn't had this illustrious career filled with titles. Edge, like 15-time world champion. Jericho, 100-time world champion, right? These guys, they've done it all. They don't need to do it. R-Truth is getting his victory lap. R-Truth is getting a tag team run with The Miz where ultimately he's probably going to put someone over at the end of it. But this isn't the same. This isn't apples to apples. R-Truth is not taking up valuable time on a 3-hour television show. R-Truth is just doing whatever is being asked of him. So don't make that comparison, IWC. Third story here is Cody Rhodes teases drastic changes to the WWE presentation. Cody Rhodes is teasing that he might want to add a classic-style WWE manager to his current title run. I've never understood why managers these days are reserved as a crutch for guys who are weaker on a microphone. Like, to me, there is a visual in strength in numbers. Paul Heyman should be the prime example of what a third party can do to a storyline. The way he adds things to a storyline that aren't there should be the example for all other wrestlers going forward, that these guys can add something that just standing across from another wrestler with a microphone doesn't add. A guy like Chad Gable could benefit extremely from hanging around a guy like Kurt Angle. It just, the little bit of rub you get. Does Chad Gable need a mouthpiece? Not at all. But you still can benefit from having a guy like Kurt Angle around. Even Cody Rhodes and AEW had Arn Anderson. And Arn Anderson got everybody fired up when he said he had a gun in his car for carjackers. Like, these old crazy guys say crazy shit. It gives them a platform to talk. And the great thing about old crazy guys is when they do real wild shit, you can just say, oh man, they're going senile. I'm sorry, we won't let them be on TV anymore. Look at Ric Flair. Like, you can do that kind of thing. Ric Flair gets away with more shit because he's old than any other person in the world. And like, look at the press conference on Smackdown. Logan Paul came out with a lawyer, an entourage. It just makes it feel like wrestling. It makes it feel larger than life. It feels like boxing. It feels like a real sport. An entourage. There's people surrounding you. You're not doing it alone. More power to Cody Rhodes. I'm all about Cody experimenting and trying to figure out what works for Cody. Lay into the old school thing. Lay into doing it different. Be different, Cody. You're not Roman Reigns. You're going to have to reinvent title runs after Roman Reigns did it for 4 years. So as long as this leads to Cody not talking about Dusty week after week after week, I'm all for it. Let's get to the topic of the show. All right, so I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real honest right here at this point in the show. I've seen just a little bit too much disrespect and too much yawning from the IWC over last week's Friday Night Smackdown. At this point, I'm not sure what you guys want anymore. I'm not sure what it takes to get IWC wrestling fans excited anymore. The IWC literally needs somebody to be set on fire on a weekly basis to act like the penultimate episode of Smackdown was fire. They need someone on fire to say an episode was fire. Look at the card. Look at this card. I'm looking at this card right here in front of me. And this is what people are yawning at. This is what people are going, you didn't miss much. It's just another Smackdown. Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. A never-before-seen main event that was absolutely beautiful for a Friday night. It was absolutely amazing. Perfect match to end my Friday with. Perfect match to end my week with. And we're just not excited about that. We're just not going to be excited about that. We get a physical match between Jade Cargill and Nia Jax, teasing something at a later date. That's what weekly television is supposed to do. Teasing a bigger match later on versus Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Ends with a DQ. Ends with the babyface getting DQ'd. Lots of out-of-ring action, but that's not enough. That's not exciting enough. I don't know what you want. I guess someone needed to do a backflip. That would have made that match better. Let's take two powerhouses and they need to do a backflip. Someone make that make sense to me. You know what makes sense to me? Is a match that was perfectly executed, setting up something later on, and it ended the only way it could end after Bianca Belair won the first match of the night. Don't know what you guys want. Next, we got LA Knight, Tama Tonga. Again, another stellar match for the middle of the card. I don't get what you guys are looking for. Solo Sikoa is on the rise. He's getting week after week to build this new character that he's bringing to us as we still kind of build up the bloodline storyline. There's levels to this thing, right? These guys have to be the feature of the show so that when the big dogs come back, everybody's on a level playing field. But once again, what more do you want? LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. I watched the entire match. I usually do a little bit of fast forwarding, not gonna lie. I watched the entire match. And we can sit around and pretend, because I know this is what a lot of IWC, we can sit around and pretend that Tama Tonga is not an absolute savage. You can pretend that if that's what you want to do. But this dude's out here making Tasmanian devil noises before his match. He's got all the IWC dweebs talking right now. They're all, oh, listen to the noises he makes. He's so weird. Nah, he's doing exactly what you're supposed to do as a professional wrestler. This is what you're supposed to do, dipshits. He's making all you guys cry. He's making all you guys talk. That's the name of the game. The name of the game is getting yourself noticed. And when you are the sixth man down the totem pole that is known as the bloodline, any kind of acknowledgement you can get is good press at this point. If we come out on Friday and everybody's talking about the weird noises you made, you won. I would bet this was a Paul Heyman decision. I would bet Paul Heyman was in the ear of Tama Tonga talking about, if you want to get noticed, do some real weird shit. Get real weird for a minute. Let's do some real wild stuff, man. This is another match that we've never seen. Another match never before seen. Thought it was a good match. I don't know what you guys are looking for. I don't know what you want at this point. What do you want? What makes Friday night better? The only complaint that I have for Friday Night Smackdowns right now is just, let's get it off of Fox. Fox is obviously done with WWE. All of the black screens, all of the audio cutouts. This is pro wrestling. We're going to say some bad words. There's going to be some signs that say some things that you don't want on TV, but that's always been a part of wrestling. Like at this point, Dance Moms is allowed to have an edgier product than WWE is allowed to have on Fox Network. And Fox is just butthurt because they didn't bid more. And then all of a sudden, WWE blew up. And it's never been cooler to watch WWE. And Fox is the company that's kind of left out in the cold. I thought Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes contract signing, that's a great middle of the show. Like you guys sit around, you IWC guys sit around and talk about the lack of story. And then WWE starts adding elements of story to this, and you cry about now there's a lack of wrestling. Like, the IWC is really just mad because Logan Paul is so good at this. It's because he's better than all of your favorite AEW wrestlers. He brings out a lawyer. He brings out an entourage, and it all just works. He does what the elite try to do on a weekly basis, and he does it so effortlessly. Like, and the IWC is not ready to hear this. But Logan Paul is making Cody Rhodes step his game up. Logan Paul is not going to let Cody Rhodes go out there and use the same tired shtick of Dusty. Logan's not playing that game. Logan says and does things that aren't in the normal world of wrestling, and they cause you to react in a certain way where you have to step your game up, or you're going to be made to look like a fool. This is going to be a great King of the Ring match. They've done everything they needed to do to sell me on this. And now that the title situation is cleared up, we've paved the way for a clean finish. What more do you guys want? What more do you guys want? I don't know. But let's talk about this. There's one thing I really want, like the last thing I want to talk about is what I really wanted to talk about, and that is my mispredictions in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Sometimes you take a shot, you make a prediction, and you miss. Happens all the time. It's the name of the business I'm in, right? Sometimes I take a shot, I make a prediction, it goes wrong, and it stings. It comes back to bite me in the ass. I cringe because I know, man, the IWC's coming for me. But then there are those rare times where you take a shot, you make a prediction, and you miss, and you actually end up more happy with the outcome than what you thought was going to happen. Bianca Belair beating Tiffany Stratton will always be okay in my book. Bianca Belair picking up any W will never get a complaint from me, ever. That's my number one. That's my favorite wrestler. I'll never be mad when my favorite wrestler succeeds. Whether or not I agree with why or how, I'll never be mad. I had it going 3 different ways. I had Jade Cargill in the final. I had Tiffany Stratton in the final. Never saw Bianca Belair getting this far. She still may not get to the final, but I didn't have Bianca being the one that went the farthest. But Bianca picking up the W never gets a complaint from me. What I do know is that Triple H has this under control. It's obvious. Triple H understands how to keep multiple superstars happy. There was a point in time I thought that Triple H might be just handing the ball over to Jade Cargill and going, we're going to push Bianca to the back. He's not doing that. Nope. Bianca's progressed farther than Jade Cargill. It continues to make Bianca Belair look like a badass. Shout out to Triple H. Intelligent booking. Intelligent booking. I'm mad I didn't see it. But who's complaining about this? You guys. Once again, what more do y'all want? What are you guys watching? This is just another average Smackdown, right? This was the opening match of the night. This is a match that I've called for on numerous premium live events. It's Bianca Belair versus Tiffany Stratton. This was a glance into the future of what wrestling is going to be. And guys, we are in very, very good hands in the women's division. So what are you guys complaining about? What do you guys want? This show was bookended by 2 amazing matches. Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, Randy Orton, Carmelo Hayes. Right in the middle of this thing, we got a contract signing that was as good as a contract signing can be, right? We got a physical-based match between 2 powerhouses, Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, that ended in the only way that it could end, DQ. Keeps all those stories alive, keeps everything moving forward. We got backstage promo work from LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, setting up a new story there. You got a little bit of everything. You even got a sprinkle of tag team division wrestling. And we only have 2 hours on SmackDown, guys. We got all of this into 2 hours. I'm not sure what more you're looking for. I'm not sure. This is what the King of the Ring does. It forces you into these stiff, creative decisions. But you talk about being spoiled, like someone didn't get set on fire. There wasn't a big surprise, so the IWC's upset. King of the Ring's literally a week away, and we're still getting banger matches like Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair on SmackDown. We're spoiled. We are spoiled as wrestling fans. Why aren't we talking more about Carmelo Hayes? Like, why are we not coming out of Friday big up in Carmelo Hayes? Week after week, I hear the IWC continue to drone on about Ilya Dragunov. Which by the way, I said Dragunov, okay? Quit telling me to learn how to say names. I'm a casual fan. It doesn't mean that much to me. Whether I say Droganov or Dragunov, fuck you little dweebs who go in the comment section talking about learn to say the name right or don't talk about him. I'll say it however I want. Okay? But what you guys are going to have to explain to me is, what do you guys see in Dragunov that you don't see in Carmelo Hayes? Carmelo Hayes is main eventing SmackDowns. In my book, he's a better promo than Dragunov. In my book, his in-ring work is just as or more exciting than Dragunov. What makes you IWC guys fall in love with one guy over another? What makes Ilya Dragunov so much better than Carmelo Hayes? I don't see it. I literally think it comes down to a delusion. There's a delusion with the IWC. There's a delusion in what they think in-ring skills actually are. The IWC thinks that in-ring skills are how many moves you can do in the ring. But there's a delusion to not add the ability to captivate an audience while in the ring to that same skill set. When you define a pro wrestler, it can't just be wrestling. If you want just wrestling, go watch the Olympics. If you want just wrestling, guys can go be a part of MMA. Pro wrestling is a crowd participation sport. We criticize guys like LA Knight, Jey Uso. Carmelo Hayes doesn't get the credit that an Ilya Dragunov gets. Why? Because there's not enough flips in the ring. There's not enough of what the IWC is looking for. But these guys have the ability to engage a crowd. I just think it's silly when the IWC places so much weight on in-ring maneuvers versus the things that sell the shirts, right? It's personality. It's character that sells the shirts. Nobody's buying the shirts of the guy who does the most flips. Ask Ricochet. Ask Ricochet how many shirts sell every time he does a good flip. And I'm not saying Ricochet doesn't have personality. Ricochet has not been given the opportunity to show his personality. I guarantee you Ricochet would much prefer to get 10 minutes to cut a promo than he would 10 minutes to flip around the ring, because you sell shirts in the promo. You don't sell shirts in the in-ring flippy stuff, right? You don't sell tickets to the show based on the circus acts. You sell it based on the personalities. You don't get new media deals with television companies because your guys flip around real good. You get new media deals because of the personalities. The Rock was a personality. Stone Cold was a personality. It's silly to me that the IWC places so much value on the in-ring maneuver stuff. Let's drop in with a final blow to the IWC, then let's get out of here. Can someone please tell me who is actually listening to Dave Meltzer? And why are you listening to Dave Meltzer? Who is actually looking at the tweets that Dave Meltzer puts out and the star ratings that he puts out, and they're talking to their buddies about wrestling and they're referencing the Dave Meltzer stuff? Who is reading the tweets and agreeing with what he says? If he's just your villain in your wrestling story arc, that's fine. I get it. We can all talk shit about him. I want to meet the people who are actually championing this man and tell me why. This is a serious question, because I don't understand. I've never met somebody who actually goes, oh no, Dave Meltzer's got it all figured out. Because I'm seeing right now that he's falsely reporting on Ivar about receiving time off from WWE because Ivar's been working so hard, only to be corrected by the man himself, the source himself, saying, no, I'm really injured and I need surgery. And these rumors that Dave Meltzer started, they're all false. What bonehead dipshit is Dave Meltzer getting this information from? Does he have a network of little middle school towel boys that are in WWE and AEW locker rooms just feeding him bad info? And then he regurgitates it without double checking it on the internet? Or is it the Young Bucks? Do the Young Bucks just make shit up and email Dave Meltzer and he just reports on whatever they say? I need to know. For real. Who's a Dave Meltzer fan? What does a Dave Meltzer fan look like? Because even the IWC I talk to don't seem to be Dave Meltzer fans. So I'm trying to wrap my head around what is a Dave Meltzer fan. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode in the comments. And while you're at it, make sure to join the Casual Wrestling faction. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you guys, as always, for taking your time to hang out today. I am Nerdy D. You guys are the Casual Wrestling faction, and we will talk more pro wrestling tomorrow.